Picture the checkout. The number climbs. $140, $150, $155, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice already knows the truth. Half of this will be gone in 2 days. A third of it will rot in the drawer, and you'll be right back here Thursday doing it all again. Now picture a kitchen in Osaka. Same size family, same appetites. Their weekly bill? Around $70. And every single night they eat a hot, cooked-from-scratch dinner with real protein, fresh vegetables, and rice. Same planet, same hunger, less than half the cost. The difference isn't discipline, and it isn't some secret they were born with. It's that they never once had to walk through the trap you walk through every week. And today, I'm going to walk you straight through it, aisle by aisle, so you can see exactly where your money quietly disappears. If your last grocery bill made you flinch even a little, hit subscribe now, because by the end of this you'll never look at that store the same way again. Here's the first thing to understand, and it reframes everything. A Japanese supermarket and an American one are not the same building with different labels. They're built on opposite ideas. Walk into a Tokyo market and it's almost startling how little there is. A produce section, a fish counter, a wall of rice, soy sauce, miso, mirin, and vinegar. A checkout, that's basically it. There is no vast glowing middle, no 1,000 boxes you have to pass to reach the milk. And that emptiness isn't an accident. It's the whole secret. Because everything expensive in your cart lives in a place the Japanese kitchen simply doesn't shop. So let's start where they start. The outer wall. The produce. This is where the first illusion hits. You reach for the bagged salad kit at $5, the pre-cut fruit tray, the baby carrots. They feel smart. They feel efficient. But look closer. Baby carrots are just full carrots shaved down by a machine. You're paying double for the shaving, and they turn slimy in a week. The bagged greens dissolve into soup by Thursday. If you've ever thrown out a wilted bag of spring mix, and everyone has, you didn't buy salad, you rented it. The Japanese cart, instead, holds a single head of cabbage for under $3 that keeps a month, becomes a crunchy side, a fried dish, and the base of a savory pancake. One cheap ingredient doing the work of 3. A bunch of green onions you can stand in a glass of water on the windowsill to keep regrowing. Whatever fruit is actually in season, because in-season fruit is at peak flavor and rock-bottom price at the exact same moment. The Japanese even have a word for eating this way. Shun, meaning you eat each thing precisely when nature makes it best and cheapest. The fruit trapped behind plastic in February was flown across the world in a refrigerated box. It tastes like the box. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because the next aisle is the one you've been proud of. Move to the protein. Most Americans march straight past the chicken thighs to grab the breasts, paying more for the drier cut of the exact same bird. The Japanese kitchen has always chosen thighs. Fattier, more forgiving, and they don't turn to sawdust the second they hit heat. Sliced thin, tossed with soy sauce and grated ginger while the rice cooks, seared until the edges caramelize. That's shogayaki, a classic Japanese diner dinner in about 8 minutes. Then there's tofu. Most Americans have never bought a plain block, but they've bought the $9 pre-marinated tub, the frozen tofu stir-fry, the protein bar with soy isolate. All the same block, with a little work done to it and a large markup piled on top. And eggs, one of the cheapest complete proteins on earth. A raw egg stirred into hot rice with soy sauce cooks into a soft custard called tamago kake gohan, a real breakfast for about 50 cents. When someone says they can't afford protein, and then mentions the $4 gas station protein bar, an egg does the same job for a quarter of the price. Stop here for a second, because this is the pattern underneath everything, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every single item I've named so far is a plain ingredient, and plain ingredients have thin margins. The store makes almost nothing on a bag of rice or a head of cabbage. But the moment someone cooks that rice, seasons it, and drops it into a microwave cup with a bright label, suddenly there's real profit on the shelf. The industry has a cheerful term for this: value added. What it actually means is somebody did 10 cents of work to a plain ingredient and charged you $3 for it. The value got added to their ledger, not your dinner. That's why the plain rice sits on the bottom shelf, and the microwave pouch sits at eye level. That's why the plain tofu hides below the marinated tub your hand naturally reaches for. If that just made you a little angry, drop the word middle in the comments, as in the middle aisle you're about to stop shopping in, because I read every one, and naming it out loud is how it starts to change. Now the aisle they actually treat as sacred, the one wall the Japanese kitchen refuses to skimp on. The seasonings, and here's the beautiful irony. It's the cheapest wall in the store. One $4 bottle of soy sauce replaces an entire American shelf of bottled sauces, because teriyaki is just soy sauce, mirin, and a little sugar simmered for 2 minutes. A $3 bottle of mirin, sweetened rice wine, is the invisible ingredient behind nearly every restaurant sauce you've ever tasted and wondered about. A $1 knob of fresh ginger makes the jarred $6 paste taste like nothing by comparison. The jar was never selling you ginger, it was selling you the 10 seconds of grating. Rice vinegar turns oil into salad dressing and makes half the condiment aisle stop making sense. And a small tub of miso, around $14, the one real splurge, makes roughly 40 bowls of soup at about 35 cents each, while a single delivered bowl on your lunch app runs north of 12. And that leads to the quiet villain of the whole store, the reason none of your home cooking ever tastes finished. It's dashi, a tiny box of bonito and kelp granules, around $6, that makes 100 bowls of savory base. It's barely food on its own, a fine, fishy powder, but it's the invisible thing that makes all the plain ingredients above it suddenly taste like a Tokyo restaurant instead of a home kitchen. And here's why it's secretly the biggest money saver on the entire list. Bland food is what drives you to the sushi app, the frozen dinner, the $15 poke bowl at work. Every one of those is really selling you flavor. Nobody ever told you that flavor costs about $6 of dashi, a tub of miso, and a bottle of soy sauce. Season your own food properly, and the delivery app on your phone goes very, very quiet. Underneath all of this sits one Japanese word that ties the whole philosophy together: mottainai. It's older than any budgeting trend, a Buddhist and Shinto idea, usually translated as, what a waste, but it runs deeper than scolding. It's the genuine regret felt when something good never got to become what it could have been. The wilted greens, the jar of sauce never opened, the chicken forgotten in the back of the fridge. Mottainai is feeling the meal it was supposed to become, the money it stood for, and the care of everyone who grew it and drove it to the store, all going into the trash in one flick of the hand. A Japanese kitchen runs on so few ingredients because every one of them has a job, and the cook can't bear to let a single one fail at it. So don't try to overhaul your whole cart in one trip. That never sticks. That never sticks. Just do this. Pull up your last receipt and find the 3 most expensive things on it that are really only a plain Japanese ingredient with a little work done. The bottled teriyaki, the pre-marinated meat, the poke bowl you ordered because you didn't know you could build it for $6. Swap those 3 for the plain versions this week. Next trip, swap 3 more. Inside 2 months your cart looks like an Osaka cart, and your bill looks like it belongs to a different decade. If this changed how you'll see that store on your next trip, share it with one person who's tired at 6 p.m. and quietly overspending every single week. They might be 3 swaps away from getting hundreds of dollars back.